Gambia is proud to host the 15th OIC Summit on the 4th and 5th May 2024, the second largest gathering of world leaders, kings, presidents, rulers, prime ministers, along with delegates from 57 member countries of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation will gather in our beloved nation for this historic event. The theme of the summit is enhancing unity and solidarity through dialogue for sustainable development. It's a platform to foster cooperation, promote peace and drive sustainable development across the Ummah and the world at large. We call on all Gambians to unite and support the government as it strives to host a memorable and successful event. Let's showcase our hospitality, culture and the beauty of the Gambia to the world. Join us in making history. Let's stand together, united as one, to ensure the 15th OIC Summit in the Gambia is an event to remember. Together, we can make a difference.
Good morning there, you're watching QTV this morning and I am Jenna Basonko and I'm here with my co-host Ibrahim Abalde. Thank you so much for joining us. And today our newspaper review guests, we're here with Choi. Thank you so much Mamadou Lamin Choi for joining us on the program.
Yeah, it's good to have you here, Choi. Good morning. How are you?
To be on the same platform with you, Mr. Balde, as always.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Jenna, what's up?
Yeah, so we had an interesting program yesterday, and unfortunately, we could not finish up yesterday's program due to time constraints. We were joined by representatives from the Child Fund, taking a look at how they donated books and solar lamps to schools across the country. And we deeply apologize for that very short conversation yesterday. But luckily for us, we're able to have them back on the show today. So
yes.
At the latter part of the show, they will join us back so that all of us will be able to together learn more about what Child Fund is doing across the country when it comes to children, which is really good, because like I said yesterday, it's about some of these little things that you can do that will go a long way in impacting the lives of children across the country.
Exactly.
So moving away from that, like I said, Choi, it's really good to have you here. A lot of things have been happening, currently in the Gambia, and for me, I think one of the most important that we should really pay attention to as Gambians has to do with the issue of that particular verdict when it comes to Gambia having to pay £20 million to the West African Aquaculture Limited. This actually happened in 2015. During the time of Yahya Jammeh, and according to the press release by the government spokesperson, it's not just that one. The current government of the Gambia is having to pay for a lot of damages that the former president actually did in relation to, not abiding by the rule of law. So I think it's very unfortunate, generally, Choi, that at this day, £20 million sterling to a tax-based economy that does not have any resources, and currently we even have competing sectors as we speak. Very, very unfortunate situation.
Yes, absolutely. This goes to show you that there is continuity in government, irrespective of whether Jammeh did it, irrespective of whether Barrow has done it. There is continuity in government.
Right.
And there are so many developments which happened in the previous regime.
Right.
Now, for those people who are not happy with how things unfolded, at the advent of the new administration, would take matters to the courts, not locally here, but to the international courts.
Right.
And Gambia, is also obliged to abide by, decisions coming from, these courts. So it must serve as a learning point for every government that is in place, that whatever decision you make, it will, one way or the other, directly or indirectly, affect the country. It is just a matter of time.
Yes.
And this case has proven to be, the case of how significant it is for governments to take prudent measures in their dealings with the private sector, in their dealings with investors, in their dealings with anybody. Because that £20 million sterling that we're talking about here is a huge money.
Yes,
We could have been in which government could have used and piped into development projects.
Exactly.
We're seeing, infrastructure developments happening in this country. How much money, how much that amount of, how much development that money could have, helped impact the lives and livelihoods of the Gambian people. But now it is going to a different direction,
Yep.
all due to the action of a previous.
The
So
reckless,
it's
we
telling
can call it.
It's telling you how each and every citizen should be responsible, to handle the affairs of their country very seriously, to hold your governments accountable for certain actions as well. This is where free journalism have to come in place, whereby certain things that are not right to be voice out, so that people can know this is not right. And, journalists can hold governments accountable. At some point, maybe certain stories, if they are aired, certain decisions will not be taken.
Yes.
But we all know during Jammeh's time, nobody is there to do certain things as a journalist.
So this is actually sent to the International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes for its adjudication. So this is like a, world-leading tribunal where investors actually can send problems when they come to a country and invest, and then things do not go the way they wanted. They can easily send it out there. So in the initial stages, the government of the Gambia wanted a negotiation between them and this particular farm, but they couldn't come to terms. But the government is also talking about ways to appeal this. I'm not sure how, because if you could not come to terms 6 years ago, I don't know how they can come to terms now. But I think that is left to them for them to decide. But Troy, if you look at the press release, the part that really caught my attention is that the damage has already been done. Gambia is supposed to pay the £20 million. The damage has been done due to Yahya Jammeh's, reckless nature towards the rule of law. But the point that was made at the press release that really stood out for me is the spokesperson highlighting the fact that currently government institutions have to be very mindful as to how they deal, like you mentioned, with foreign investors. It has to be fair, to them to be able to invest, and then when they do, everything is done accordingly to avoid things like this. Like it might spread on to the next government, like you said. The government is transfer currently. Basiru Jomahi Faye and Macky Sall is an example how they have to ensure that there's a smooth transitioning where he will take over from there.
Yes, and this just to elaborate on what Mr. Balde has just said right now, when it comes to the role of the press, but not only the press, but civil society.
Right.
Now, we're seeing at least government a little bit more open than the previous one. And this is good because transparency in government will help the citizenry to hold government accountable to, to its actions and decisions.
Right.
Because you and I, Geneva, or Ibrahim Balde, all of us were not aware of this investment that happened in the previous regime. And now that, a press release has been issued, we now are aware of how serious the matter is, and, leading to government taking from the taxpayers' money, of course, pending, appeal from the government.
Right.
For me, the likelihood of government appealing this, anyway, they have the right to appeal,
Well,
but
that's
I'm not saying,
Me too.
I'm not.
If
I'm
they
not
could not
saying
decide
government-
6 years ago on the table, I don't see how they'll get. But we are not the experts here. But
So it will be
challenging.
It is important.
Yeah.
People must not watch government to take decisions, and then it just goes like that. There must be collective effort involving civil society, involving the press, involving every Gambian, and that is why we have the the access to information law. In the access to information law, we have the right to know about the contract government has signed with other institutions, with international organizations, even with the private sector. Okay, even if it involves a private sector organization, because at the end of the day, it is the public who will bear the consequences of a decision that has been taken when it comes to the contracts that government signs, when it comes to the the treaties and international agreements that the Gambia signs with other bodies, be it investors, be it any other organization. So it is very important for transparency to be there. But we must not all sit and say, okay, government has to be transparent. Transparent, about what? We must all be proactive in showing the interest to know what government is doing so that it is exposed out there We have seen some instances, when people acquire certain information and, it all goes viral online and there is public outcry, critiquing, decision that the government has taken, and we're seeing government being very responsive enough to come back and then, withdraw its stance on certain things. So we must not all relent in our effort to hold, holding power to check when it comes to the decisions it takes, because directly or indirectly it will affect us today or tomorrow.
Yeah, but generally, Choi, if we look at, okay, let's be honest here when it comes to, we've had this conversation several times with Mr. Ade, talking about journalism currently, the state of journalism currently in the Gambia. And you talked about responsible journalism and, the Gambia government being too, reactive instead of being proactive in some instances. But, if you have to even hold a government to account, do you even have the capacity? I attended a press conference when it comes to the ATI, the Access to Information Law, and a journalist was asking certain questions that I did not even expect the journalist to ask, because these were things that you needed to be au fait with, because, the law is your law. The law is meant to protect you. Like, you should know what it says. What can you use the law to do as a journalist? Some of these things we should even educate ourselves on, but we do not. So I think on the side of us as journalists as well, we have a responsibility to ensure that we build our capacity so that when we speak, politicians or the individual that we're putting to account will not trash it out. She knows what she's saying. But now, with obviously the media landscape is widening up, it's becoming problematic as well. Let's also accept that. Do you agree?
Yes.
Partly.
It is, the media landscape is not regulated like other, other sectors.
Right.
Somebody asked me recently whether we are licensed as journalists, not practices.
Yes.
In democracies that don't tend to be the case, because if government
does that, you're limiting,
or another body is responsible for that, somehow might limit the freedom of the press. But here what is important is that when you practice journalism, you are well equipped enough, because without being properly equipped, you wouldn't be able to hold government to account.
Agreed.
If you are not well informed, if you are not on top of issues, then the purpose of journalism is defeated.
Right.
And this is why we must have the knowledge, the capacity, and the competence to hold government to account. How do we do it? Is by making sure that we go through the process of training.
Right.
Journalism is as sensitive as law.
Journalism
is as sensitive as the field of medicine, because information can destroy a nation. Okay, so this is why it is important for us to be well equipped in a way that we are able to perform our task accordingly. But I wanted to put also here, a message. Not only the journalists, the civil society should be involved in helping the government to be on the right track in terms of administration, but the National Assembly. The National Assembly has that oversight function on government. The National Assembly can call a minister, can summon a minister, review the contract the ministry, has signed with, with another organization or an individual to see whether it is in the best interest of the country. The best national interest first, before anything. But when due diligence is not taken, that is what compromises national interest and gets us to the situation that we are in today.
Talking about. But aside from that, I know people like Ibrahim Abalde here has his tank, filled to the brim at this point in time.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's a VJ, so he has a full tank as he's sitting here.
Well loaded.
Well loaded. The reason is because, the oil marketing companies came up with a press release, talking about different issues. For example, how the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs has unilaterally taken a decision to cut the trader premium on gas oil. And aside from that, they're also talking about taxes. For example, the dealer and transport margins were also reduced without any due consideration to rising fuel costs, operation expenses, regulatory standards, and municipality trading license fees and domestic tax. So due to this, they're organizing some sort of strike where they're saying that till the 4th of April, if the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs does not review, some of the things that they've listing, the expenses, rising cost of fuel, domestic tax, municipality license fees, and all of that, they are going on strike on the 4th. This is not the first time anyway something as such is happening in the Gambia. And normally when it happens, it's only the GNPC that sells fuel because, it's the government body. So it will be challenging.
Well,
so hopefully they will get to sit down and negotiate this.
Well, I know going on strike can be very
detrimental.
It can be very stressful, for vehicle owners and people that would even own vehicles. I mean, because you need a car to ply to work.
True.
But at some point, sending the press release will at least make people to be prepared, for what is coming ahead. But I think there should be proper negotiations. Let them negotiate at some point too.
Yes.
Yes, because I know the reason why they are doing this. It's because of the price difference as well.
So there is, I've observed a vacuum, between government and the OMCs.
Right.
There is, seemingly lack of consultation, between the two. Of course, the Ministry of Petroleum and, the Ministry of Finance, somehow, there is a committee sort of that is in charge of coming together and determining the price. So the OMCs, that is the oil marketing companies, are not wholly responsible when it comes to deciding the price. But in that press release, we have had the word unilateral decision by government. Of course, the ministry has a mandate to do that, but it should be in consultation with the OMCs, so that at the end of the day, whatever decision it takes, it reflects the realities on the ground. And this is not the first time, as Jennifer has, has highlighted, this is happening.
Yes.
And it must be avoided. It can be avoided by making sure that they engage in consultations. I'm not saying it has not happened, but going by what the press release has indicated, if that is the case, it could be avoided. Because oil, petrol and gas is very important for our economy.
Right.
People depend on it. Industries depend on it, for processing. Also, the transportation sector, which is hugely significant in our economic growth, also relies on it. Come on, even QTV here.
Yes.
We also,
Highly.
every institution, every household,
Yeah.
Balde, your house relies on electricity.
Absolutely.
Without, there is a very, low number of households that use solar. Okay, even if they do, but outside, they will have to rely on institutions or businesses,
who do not,
that will require, electricity to function.
Yeah.
So if these people, of course, I see the press release as a warning.
Yes, it is a warning.
This must be corrected, because the one who sent me the press release yesterday, I asked whether there will be a press conference.
Yes.
They said, oh, no, we want to hold on and see what happens next. Okay? Now they have issued a warning, and I hope that government will take the opportunity to sit down with them, as they had done before, to see how best they can resolve this. If not, businesses will suffer, the economy will suffer significantly.
Yeah, businesses will suffer, like you mentioned. So moving on, today, Bassirou Diomaye Faye will be officially inaugurated in Dakar, Senegal, and the President Adama Barrow flew yesterday to Dakar to attend it. We also saw some of the military-led governments also in West Africa excited about this, and then heading there as well. Like Mr. Ade said yesterday, why are you excited when you were not democratically voted in? It's quite ironical, but dozens of heads of states are expected to actually grace the inauguration ceremony. And generally, I mean, Joy, there's an issue ongoing that I think, as a young person, I think we need to have this discussion, just aside from the inauguration, because tomorrow we'll be able to know what happened during the inauguration, the speeches and all that, so that we can make reference to it. But generally, did you observe that when Bassirou Diomaye Faye won under the dissolved PASTEF, there's some conversation it has sparked in the Gambia, when it comes to young people taking leadership. You know, there's a lot of talk about it. I don't know if you've seen it online. So, you know, I just looked at it and I laughed because I know, obviously, as Gambians, sometimes we are very good at that. When issues happen in another country, we import, we don't kind of come up with something.
Or create our own, innovate our own thing.
But I don't want to tell my opinion yet. I want choice, independent opinion first, and then later we are free to, like, we don't want to affect choice opinion. So Choi, what is your opinion on this? The fact that, fine, that movement is beginning to inspire, you know, some people in the Gambia. And we've even seen people from the opposition also trying to associate themselves in a way with this whole issue. So what's your take on it?
It's good. And, you know, Gambia and Senegal, you know, the proximity, there is proximity between the two, you know, countries.
Right.
And what happens in Senegal can also influence what happens in the Gambia.
Yeah.
Of course, people have seen and they have read into the political atmosphere of Senegal and the developments that have come, you know, recently. And they're trying to see how best that could be replicated, you know, in the country here. There is so much excitement,
Yes.
You know, in the atmosphere, flying all over,
Yeah.
hovering all over the country.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, it indicates that sense of hope and optimism of Gambians in, you know, ushering into what Senegal has, you know, has just acquired recently. So it is good, you know, it is a good opportunity that we have, and the platform must be there. Young people must be given the platform to ensure that they steer the affairs of this country. But it takes sacrifice. You know,
that's what
it takes time.
I'm glad you mentioned this.
These
I'm
people
glad.
put their lives
on the line.
You know, I'm not sure if many of us are ready to go
Yes.
that far,
Sacrifice,
you know, to
That's
sacrifice
yes,
to that extent. But not only that, we all keep talking about giving the young people the opportunity, but the young people must be prepared enough. And being prepared enough takes what it took Bassirou Diomaye Faye and Sonko and, you know, and the rest of the PASTEF members to achieve what they have achieved right now. For anybody who has been following them, you will know, you know, the sacrifice, the selflessness, you know, selflessness, you know, guiding their spirit. It is what has led to what, and consistency, you know.
It's a
there
key
must
word.
be sacrifice, there must be consistency, there must be selflessness.
Yes, it's very important.
Okay, these people had the opportunity to work with government. If they had expressed intention, you know, I'm sure there were many people who, you know, started the struggle, but at some point
they
went to the you know, to the other side of the political divide, supporting Macky Sall. But these people never budged. These people were, you know, lived in a very terrible, difficult, you know, circumstances, jailed, you know, targeted, but they never gave up.
You know, when I saw this, I mean, I don't have a problem with young people coming out, you know, to express what they feel or, you know, taking affairs of their country. But the thing is, what I said is people have to be very serious with their lives. You know, to run a country, it's not running a department. You know, running a country, you know, imagine running a whole country. It means your life and the lives of the people, almost 2 million people. You know, you are the one who is going to steer their affairs. Senegal doesn't achieve this thing overnight. It took them like 12, 13 years for them to portray this project to the people. And winning it today, like you said, it's not just 1 or 2 days. You have to be ready to go to jail. You have to be ready to be called different names. You have to be ready to be beaten, to be taken to custody. So I believe for us as Gambians, sometimes we are carried away by situations. Once we see someone achieve something, we want to achieve it overnight. My problem is not people expressing their intentions for change, but how are they ready to sacrifice for that change? That is my problem. So that's why I didn't take heed of what was going around on social media.
For me, I agree with both. There are points that I can pick from the both of you that I can, talk about. So for me, I feel like, first of all, I'm glad you talked about a project, because Pastef had a project that they saw to the general public in Senegal, and they bought it. So for me, first of all, young people have to come together to form a united front if they really want this. They cannot have camps, pick and choose, ku nekk toog sa corner, wax ne oh dañoo jël, no. Come ngeen def seen united front. We've seen it in Zambia. Young people, they're the ones that voted, and the change came from them. Senegal, the same thing. So if they really want what they want, let them make sure that they form a united front and sell us a serious agenda. In as much as I'm for the young people and all of that, but when the time comes for us to be like, they need to do this and be serious about it. It's not just some talk. And handling a whole country has nothing to do with age for me. It's not pegged to it.
No, it's not.
It's a whole country,
not.
but we have to see something that you can sell to us that we can buy. It's not about being jailed. It's not about being beaten, even for me. It's just about what you can sell to us that we know it is going to work for us as a country.
Well, I think people are getting more and more aware now in Gambia.
Yes.
It's not like the political system 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Now people understand agenda. People understand manifesto. We all know what we want as a country. We know where we want to go. Because now people are getting more educated, and you and I know what we want. We are not going to look at a leader because of your appearance. We want the stuff that you are going to do for this country.
We are still looking at leaders based on their appearance.
Although many people said Halifa Sallah is the one who can run this country, but at the end of the time, nobody voted for Halifa Sallah.
Lolu gis nañ ko fi. Marisok, si jigéen la taxaw na fi pour nekk président, ñu ne seyut dafa dox kawaram bi.
That's a topic for another day.
It's a topic for why dama la won ne rek ne we are moving slowly comme niko Mr. Mbodj dey waxe. It's not a radical change.
Why?
It's a step by step thing, because imaginal in 2024 am na ko tok feel ne am na ko seyut wala kawaram bi daf ko dok wala dafa am num behave waruta mun a nekk président loolu xalaat yu deelu gannaaw yooyu ba léegi am na si biir dëkk bi
we will transform
si biir 2024
dina transform we will get there whereby time will come. We will not look at appearance, we will not judge anybody. Why do nekk si suñ generation bi
astaghfirullah
no du nekk fii as far as our grandparents are alive ñu ngi seetaan di xool xam nga ñoom dañ am seen own way ak nu ñoo doxale understand nga so du nekk léegi dañ ko achieve nag maybe later waaye du léegi man noonu laa ko gisee
so it takes a time
waaye nii ni mu ko bëgg a yàggalee man
xam nga noo leen ko bëgg a sànjaafee moo du dox because dam dee jël process pour ñu adopt to certain things understand nga Coy tey yow ñun suñ society bi soo fi indee jigéen bi nga xam ne dafa kot kawaram
man dama kot sama kawar bi
mu diw mu lifin nga indi ki nga xam ne ñu ngi ko teg mu ngi modeste xam nga obviously ñu bëri ñi nga xam ne right now
dama kot suma kawar bi waaye fu keneen ku kotu taxaw ma taxaw fa wax
waaye loolu
li nekk sa bopp sa appearance
waaye comme dama laa woon ne naka la society bi dee doxee di notion bu nit ñi dee am understand nga loolu moo tax ñoom luñ bugga pour also that change mënut a am because people are not adapting to that change right now am na ñi nga xam ne may nuñ waaye am ñu bëri si ñoom
am na ñu fi toog daal ñu ngi modeste ñu ngi mel nuñ war a mel waaye daal seen boppay ku ko ubbi
gis nañ ko
wax bi duñ am fuñ
it goes beyond
so let's allow
looks waaye Coy
nañ
bii xam nga topic for another day la waaye dafa am leneen lu important ñu ngi maa alaat ne time dana Sidia Jatta talking about proper leadership that he demonstrated. The University of Ohio gave him an award, as a dedicated leader and all of that. And, he's been really inspirational. As you can see, that's at the University of Ohio in the USA receiving his award by the Gambian community and the university there. It's well-deserved.
He's someone who has dedicated his life to the public service.
Yes.
He had the opportunity. He started in the UK when he was a research fellow. And he was paid huge amount of money.
Yes.
But he left that and came to the Gambia to serve. And this must serve as an inspiration for the young people that what is important is a life dedicated to public service, life that is consistent, honesty, in order to ensure that you uplift your people from the conditions that they are in, take up leadership positions for the development of the country. And he is someone who has been in that position and have contributed significantly towards the political system of this country.
Okay. Yes. Thank you so much. So gisee ma code la ñi kii maa moom suñu xuloo xam nga du dee jee te tey xam nga ñu ngi si last 10 days yi ak yooyu fitna lay bañ.
dama ko bëgg
parce que damaa jóg rek dóor ko.
non dama ko jubal.
waaw parce que mu ne waaw because suma kawar bu ma code daal moo ko xarit te du ma ko faale.
non man I like it. Man, I like it. Why ñeneen yi like
thank you so much for joining us on the program. te Coy fi mu nekk nii li do tii bugga naa soo ñibbee nga jàkkaarloo li do tii
dinañ la may
waaw may ko mu dem mos benn jox ko mu dem defar tiiyam bi ndogol sa tii
bii pour yow la bii pour jabar bi bii pour Penda
am nañ fi cow milk bi nga xamante ne Coy yow nga xam ne professeur nga boo eewoo suba dóor si cow milk bi suba boo eewoo stories yooyu binda yàllaa ko xam
nga dóor si TV
dóor si lido coffee bi
yóbbul kaw
dóor si lido coffee bi ba pare OIC secretariat bi tamit they are part of our sponsors. The OIC is fast approaching, from May 4th to 5th, inshallah. World leaders will be joining us in the Gambia, to make history together. So we are thankful to the OIC secretariat for being part of this. So we'll just go for a short break, Ibrahim. And when we come back, yesterday we started a very interesting conversation with Child Fund the Gambia when it comes to the amazing work that they're doing for Gambian children. So we will just go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at that.
Lady Gambia non happy weltare maunde wadande on OIC Summit hikka woni laabi sappo e joyi be dum bada he aduna he ngal dendal wadat balde nay ha balde joyi he lewru me hitande 2024 lambe horebe leydele ndewbe horebe leydele wondi hen e capande joyi e jeedi wobbe ngarnobe leydele moen ndendube e Organisation of Islamic Cooperation be tawtoyte dum he nder leydi men wonat non ko yejjittaake ha abadan hikka non ngal dendal ko be jewtata hen ko woni no jam nyibirta darde ne podden daro hangonen gotum en fof jaaden pour bamtare men beydare hakkunde men he kulle yahotiral he leydele julbe he e he aduna he fof be noddan non bibbe leydi Gambia fof en fof ngaren gonen gotum ballen lamongu e nder darde ne be dari hangal dental wadani no be jidiri dum ngare jabboden be hobbe teddube kollen be cosaneji men aadaji men e leydi men no weydiri e aduna he ngare denten he o taari daroden enen fof hangal dental OIC badangal do he leydi Gambia wana dental ngal yejjitaake.
The future is now. With QCell's 5G network, experience speeds like never before with our new 5G Rocket Fixed Internet plan. Get speeds from 10 Mbps to 100 Mbps. Your 5G-enabled devices. Walk into QCell headquarters to get one of our 5G routers and experience the true feeling of 5G. Only with QCell. QCell brings you the future. Tech, innovation, incredible speed. The future is now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
QCell moy Sunyabus. QCell moy Sunyabus. QCell moy Sunyabus. Go, ebeda full network suda tili QCell. Ni lafta diamla wati jamala mune diata QCell. Most reliable network jumala keta wati QCell. Wo quality man nyon soda jam ona manke QCell. Hanibe wulo ni farole kono walante be bako na jala fayola network o se taria QCell Sunyabus. Nyo finjeka indi 3G ñu delu taxi 4G plus and now we bring you 5G. 5G. First and only 5G provider. Sunyabus. Itella follow adi doron nesa keno Gambia bela nyon tawo fele QCell ko fasunta buka busi QCell itella molti milka kukutol nati Gambia QCell meta lori la kilianol yele imanyina amanda wala itella ka quality dila dadi ma itelle silo wala wodol mume be kenoma QCell Sunyabus connection be bambandi QCell QCell most innovative QCell Sunyabus.
welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. So Ibrahim, yesterday we were on a conversation on how Child Fund the Gambia donated 240 fit containers containing textbooks and solar lamps. So if you followed the show yesterday, already the history of everything has already been talked about by the representatives here. And like I always say, these are some of the small things that matter. You know, the solar lamps, you know, using it for a child far away that can use it to read, and the books and all of that. I think is really, really a good thing. And I'm glad that they're back here with us. So as you can see on the screen, those are some of the books that and the solar lamps that the Child Fund the Gambia actually donated to the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, which is meant to be distributed across the country. So, gentlemen, welcome back to the program.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much for coming back here. So I know because this is not the first time that Child Fund is doing such an initiative. When it's not just with the books, it's just with healthcare and other things.
Yeah.
But generally, what is your assessment, first of all, of the education system in the Gambia? You have your curriculum experts that will determine, you know, an assessment, a needs assessment, where these books, which particular communities these books should go to, and with the solar lamps and everything. But just generally, how do you see it across the country when it comes to, you know, education in the Gambia? And some of the gaps maybe that are even a challenge to Child Fund to come in, because obviously you can't cover all areas. So as a development partner, you know, being out there with that independent eye, how do you see it?
Yeah, thank you very much. We're happy to be here again today.
Yeah.
After a short discussion yesterday. Just to start with, few years ago, we've been in education for a very long time, since 1984, right? But a few years ago, we partnered with Child Fund Korea to test a pilot project on numeracy and literacy. We tested this in 5 schools, mainly in West Coast region. But we realized that there is a huge gap in terms of numeracy and literacy in this country. Our kids going to school are having some issues with numeracy and literacy.
Right.
And that's why our current strategy focus on that. How do we, in our Life Stake 2 program, that's where we want to see that children are educated and confident. How do we make sure that we are able to contribute to enhancing the numeracy and literacy skills of our children? And as a result of that, we do a lot of other things, just like the books that we are talking about. But we have also introduced these extra classes, these additional classes, focusing on mathematics, English, and other things in schools.
Really?
Yes. We are doing 2-hourly sessions for most communities in the Gambia. And these are done within the school settings, so that we are giving additional time to kids so that they are able to read and understand some of these mathematical issues. So we hope at the end of our strategy in 2026, when we evaluate, we will be able to see and provide a broader picture as to how those interventions are able to help us improve the numeracy and literacy of kids in schools.
So how are these classes organized? You have teachers sent to schools?
No, we use the existing teachers.
And pay them maybe extra?
Yeah, additional allowance.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, so because, you know, sometimes it's about the number of hours or time that we have with the kids in school. You know, so we discuss with the school authorities. Of course, anything that we are doing this with Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. So we identify certain schools and certain communities, and then work with the teachers, the head teachers, so that we are able to have extra 2 hours after sessions. So we're doing this for some time, about 2-3 years now, and hopefully we'll be able to see how the results come out.
Nice. Yes, let's focus on the solar lights. I mean, we know there are other communities that, you know, they don't need the solar lights.
Yes.
So what are we doing so that we can give it to people that need it the most? Because as much as we have electricity coverage in most parts of the country, but there are places that don't have electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, thank you so much, Balde. I think That question is very, very much important. In fact, that was our key priority in the criteria that we set in identifying the people who are to receive the solar lights. Like we know all the students need the lighting system, but we give priority to children who are living in communities without lights at home.
Right.
And in fact, when you look at the population of the children that we are covering, it's way more than the number of lights we have already. So that is number one thing. The priorities are like, one, the child who is to receive the light must be a school-going child, and two, must live in a community where it is not electrified. You know, even in Combo here, we have some small communities that we know they are not having electricity supply as like compared to other places.
Right.
So those children find it very difficult to focus on their home studies, especially at night. So these lights are here in order to improve and support them on that. Yes, like Farmer said, study classes at the schools and also at homes. So these lights are here to support them in that. So we don't expect any child to receive the light that is in a home which is fully electrified.
Yeah.
So for the books, are they given to the students for free, or they have a particular fee to pay before they are given the textbooks?
It is free, but like I think I need to shed some little light on this here. It's not like when the books are received at the school and they are given to children to take it as their personal property. It's a project that we are working towards, because we realize that reading culture is fading if you look at our school system. So in order to bring back that culture of reading in schools, because reading is a problem, like performance is challenged because children, we realize that some of the children cannot read and understand instruction much more to be able to answer the questions properly. So to increase performance, you must improve on their reading culture. So in doing that, we are trying to equip the libraries and also encourage the use of the libraries, because when you look at the ministry's curriculum currently, all class timetables must have library time. There must be a time in the timetable that students must be in the library with their teacher in order to concentrate on reading. So if the libraries are virtually empty, it will be difficult for us to achieve that. So that is why we, in this project, we want to ensure that the libraries are equipped with necessary materials so that children can go there and read. And also, like if children have this opportunity also, like they can borrow the books and go home with them. Maybe it can be with them for 1 week. You read it. When you finish, you return it.
You get it, go. They give you a card and then later you bring it back.
So that is how they are using the books at the schools.
So what is Child Fund doing when it comes to, the exposure of teachers and building the capacities of teachers as well? You talked about you had a partnership with Korea, Child Fund Korea. So do you have like exchanges for teachers? Because I know the ministry introduced this thing where teachers now have to do exams. And if you don't pass the exams as a teacher, you can't move ahead. And I can remember there was a high rate of failure, which was, until it was on the papers, people were complaining and all of that, which is sad, because obviously we need the right people to teach our children. Not just because you are a grade 12 dropout and you can't make it to university, you just head right onto the college, which is the natural, thing in the Gambian setting. That's what we encourage when it comes to teaching. So what are you doing to ensure that, their capacities are built? Do you want to take them for exchanges, or you feel they're not coming back if you do that? because they have been instances.
Not necessarily. But
not specifically on teachers. Nobody come after me, please.
One is a rat. So, I'll talk about 3 different initiatives that are going on right now.
Okay.
One is in partnership with UNICEF, with funding from Qatar Foundation.
Right.
We are working on a project called Zero Out of School Project. I think we were here with
I
the
can
Deputy Foreign
remember.
Secretary. In this project, we are building the capacity of 300 teachers, train them to be able to deliver content as if. Currently also, we are working with an organization called Aflatoon International. We just did a celebration of the Aflatoon Day. With Aflatoon, we've identified 90 schools.
Right.
And then we are training about 150 teachers to build their capacities on how they should deliver the content of our curriculum. Of course, we are trying to test something that we have inculcated or included in our new in the national curriculum. We're trying to see how it works, but you cannot implement that without building the capacity of the teachers.
Right.
We are also doing the education for protection and well-being program model. And in that program model, we have identified teachers as educators.
Right.
And we build their capacity. So what I just want to say is that all these 3 projects or initiatives are about enhancing our educational system for the kids. But we are aware that if you want to improve learning in school, you cannot do that without building the capacity of teachers. So that's why all of them have components of capacity building for the teachers.
Nice.
And that's something that is very close to our heart as Child Fund, because the person who is delivering plays a very important role in ensuring that we are getting the quality that we need.
Yeah. So also, aside from that, as logistics person responsible for logistics, I've never come across, maybe it has happened before, and I am not aware, where Child Fund is doing like a pad drive, like maybe distributing sanitary pads to like schools for children. I've never seen it. Maybe it has happened before. Has that happened before? Yes. Is that an area that you're looking into?
No, not looking into. We are doing
You are very right in saying that you've not come across.
But honestly,
actually, like
I know the medical aspect where you distribute drugs, but I've never seen you distribute.
But we are doing it.
We are doing that through the LPs.
Yes.
We have a package for that where we have mobilized resources and procure a lot of sanitary pads for the girls and then deliver to the LPs, and then
they do the onward delivery.
You know, there are a lot of factors that are affecting education, and they ranges from different sectors. When it comes to our girl child, the issue around pads is one issue that is making some of them lose their contact hours. But some of them, when, you know, especially the life stage to the 6 to 14, that is a very critical age. But when they come across their men's for the first time, they get disorganized, they don't know what to do, they feel shy, there are a lot of other things, and they tend to move away from the school. Right? So we, every year, when schools are about to open in September, we have what is called the back to school package for children. And in that back to school, we have the school bags, the exercise books, and the like, but also sanitary pads for our kids. And now we are making it even mandatory that when we organize our youth gatherings, our trainings for kids, especially where it will be residential, we have to have sanitary pads with us to be able to take care of those kids who will need them once they need us.
The reason why I ask this is because you can't provide them books and expect them to learn when they're running away from school. It goes side by side.
Exactly.
So let's talk about some of the challenges. There must be. You know. So among all these things you're doing, what do you think you know, you want to improve and still difficult for you?
I think one of the areas that Child Fund is still struggling is how do we reach out to the greater children. Right now, like he's talking about, the number of children we are reaching with some of these initiatives compared to the total number of children in country, we are even less than 20% of what we are reaching.
Wow.
Because those that are really in need and what we can offer, you know, this is about 1,000 or 900 and 1,000 lights.
Wow.
How many kids do we have in the Gambia that are in need of such things? But our biggest challenge is how do we reach out to all those kids?
Just widen up.
How do we widen up? So we've started our operations in West Coast, as some of you may already know. But now we are in North Bank, we are in LRR, we are in CRR. But you know, we are yet to be seen in other communities, especially in URR and the like. So that's a big area, and that's because we don't want to open ourselves too wide,
and then it will
and
be
then
meaningless.
The impact will not be there. So we just want to, the little resources that we have, we want to focus on a specific area and be able to make the results that we want. That's one of the things. So if we get enough resources, of course we would like to grow and reach out to other institutions. But then also there are a lot of protection issues that young people, children are faced with in our society. And those are challenges, the issues around child marriage. You know, you want these kids to be in school, but here is a community where they prioritize marriage, you know, than asking their kids to go to school. And here you have to fight between what the community believe and what you think is good for the child.
No, and what is right and what
is in the law. And what is in the law. So sometimes those things are challenges, you know, you talk about FGM, you talk about other happenings in our society. So those things sometimes make it difficult for us to progress. So we have to take a break and really re-strategize how we can engage to be able to move forward with some of the initiatives.
I think time is up, but we've done justice today.
Yes.
And thank you so much for coming back. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ibrahim, I'm afraid that is all we have time for.
Until tomorrow.
Yeah, till tomorrow, inshallah. Julden Jai will be here with you. So ko defé man madam noppale ko jiman ñu defé ko non
wa ñu defé ko non
wa ñu defé ko
noppalu bi rek mo machine
ma noppale ko ji baye la programme bi. But till we come your way tomorrow, thank you so much for joining us. Have a good day.
Gambia am nañ mbégte ngir taxawee jotaay bii di fukkeeli yoon ak juróomi OIC Summit ci ñaari fan ñeneenti fan ak juróomi fan ci weeri May 2024 dinañ dalal ay buur ay njiiti réew ñu toppa ci njiiti réew yi ak ñi nga xam ne ñooy taxawal seeni réew ci mbootaay gi ñu tollu ci juróom fukk ak juróom ñaari réew ñu bokk ci Organisation of Islamic Cooperation ñoo fee daje ñu war leen a dalal fii ci réewi Gambia teeru leen sargal leen bu kenn dootut fàtte ñu war a dajee ngir mun a waxtaan càmbar nu ñoo amee jàmm ak bennoo mun a mànkoo si lu ñoo jëmale kanam ak yokkute du rek si suñuy réew waaye àdduna wërngal képp loolu tax na ñuy sàkku ci ñëpp ñu defati ko nañ ko daan defee àndandoor bu taaru bañ ñu xamee woon jàppale nguur gi dañ am ko niñ ko bëggee ci xew-xew bu màgg bile na aada ak cosaan gi génn ñu yaatu ak taaral jikko yi comme niñ ko daan defee wane suñ bopp ci kanami àdduna yépp nañ leen bokk def taarix nañ leen booloo songa ko daan ko